Hi, I'm Matt with Schematical, and today we're going to talk about how to survive the upcoming AI bubble bursting. My notes. It's coming. I'm not a psychic, but I'm pretty sure we can't just keep throwing money at this thing. Just like anything else. Just like the 90s dot-com bubble burst. You kept throwing money, selling dog food on the internet, which at the time you couldn't do. You had one warehouse somewhere and they were going to ship it everywhere, and they didn't even do the math on the shipping costs. Now we can do that because we have it distributed because Amazon revolutionized that stuff. But it happens over and over and over again. Bubbles are a natural occurrence, going all the way back to the great Dutch tulip mania. I'm pretty sure it was Dutch. Either way, to the great tulip mania before. Google it. So today we have a lot of people just throwing money at anything with AI attached. Look at Product Hunt. Everything on there is AI. Now, does that mean the technology is useless? No. Okay, this video is on how to survive the bubble bursting. It's not to say that everything's going to get wiped out. So when the bubble bursts, a lot of businesses and projects are going to struggle because they cost too much, or they threw too much money at it. The well dries up a little bit, and now all of a sudden, how are you going to support yourself? Well, those that are most adaptable to change will thrive and survive. So how do you survive? You stay nimble, you stay agile. Okay, you want to be able to scale up and scale back down just in case users aren't coming. Recently, I even got in on the AI bubble, all the madness here, and launched my own product, drawnby.ai. And when that thing's not being used, it scales down to darn near $0. It depends. So I can turn it off basically as fast as I turn it on. Now, what I do is I sacrifice a little bit of speed for that. But who cares? If it's a new product to the market and no one's using it, then you don't want to be getting charged for it. Or if people are using it and they like it, they're willing to wait just that little extra. I know people want it to be as fast as possible, but until you've validated the business model and you know that people are ready to put their credit card numbers in and pay you, it doesn't make sense to commit to these big long-term commitments for GPUs that you need to run this. So stay agile. Don't commit. I know AWS offers a 25% discount if you sign up for an entire year up front. If you don't have paying customers yet, at least not a good amount of them, that you crossed the chasm, so to say, then you probably shouldn't commit to that. Who knows, in 6 months, maybe you find out no one signed up and you can't shut it off because you're already committed to pay that. So be careful with that. Anything you're booting up, make sure you can scale it back down quickly. The counter side to that is when you're booting stuff up, when you do have like a wave of publicity that comes in from, say, a periodical picks you up and mentions you, some big email newsletter, which we had recently happen to us, luckily we could scale up and keep up with it because we had a system that's designed to scale. So that's the always on versus just turn on when it needs on demand. The on demand is slower. The always on is faster, but it also costs more money. It's because you always have to keep it running. Now, if you're using like AWS SageMaker or something like that, especially for something as big as Stable Diffusion, then those tend to be always on setups, which cost an arm and a leg. So that's why I released my AWS batch Terraform scripts that boot up and go down. So you could run basically anything that uses PyTorch on that, and it'll immediately boot up only when someone needs it and boot back down. It's not, again, the fastest thing, but it'll do the trick. Once you've validated and you've got customers and you can predict the flow of customer usage, then these don't apply so much. But right now, so many people are just throwing money out there and hoping customers show up. Don't do that. I would not recommend that. I guess I can't tell you what to do. The other thing I could tell you is get creative. And I'm going to do a more detailed video and series of experiments on this later. But if you have hardware sitting at home, or on your desk at a lab somewhere that has GPUs on it, there's no reason you can't use that to run these massive loads. The biggest problem is the data transfer, transferring models back and forth. But there's ways around that, caching, etc. In the months to come, I'm going to do a video on how you can use AWS Batch to run loads from remote computers running at your house, running at your office, etc. We can take some of that load off, but that'll at least make it so you're not paying Amazon cloud prices for GPUs. Instead, you're just using the hardware you've already got. And again, the biggest thing is the data transfer cost with that. So those are two practical things you can think about when trying to stay in the game. Because again, at the end of the day, it's about staying in the game long enough. Okay, when the bubble pops, you ever see that Forrest Gump scene?
No shrimp.
Where the hell's this god of yours?
It's funny Lieutenant Dan said that, because right then, God showed up. Now me, I was scared, but Lieutenant Dan, he was mad.
You're struggling to catch anything when he's got his fishing boats, and then the storm comes, and then everybody else gets washed up. and washed out to sea, and they're the only ones left in town, and they're just making bank. Yeah, that's how the game is played. But don't just go out there and pray. Be smart about it. Keep your costs down. Keep your costs scalable down as well as up. So with that said, I'm Matt with Schematical. I consult on this stuff. This is what I do for a living. I'd be happy to talk to you about it anytime. So and hop on the Discord, and I could talk to you about it. I've got a ton of open source scripts and free resources at schematical.com if you're at all interested in checking that out. So without further ado, good luck weathering the storm.
He was mad.
Until next time, bye.